Do you get frustrated with how long it takes you to make beats? Do you wonder how you can get faster in the process of making beats? Would you like some sensible tips on how to be a more productive beat maker? Would you like to make beats quickly? If this is you, then you've come to the right place. In this series of videos, I'm going to show you 4 practical tips that you can use to become faster, more efficient, and hone your skills as a beat maker. But before we begin, remember to like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification so that you get notified every time I release a new video in this series. Okay, so I am going to give you the overview of the 4 tips, and then we will go into detail on what I mean by each tip. And tip number 1 is to make favorite folders. Tip number 2 is to simultaneously work on multiple projects, which I know sounds counterintuitive, but it will make sense as we go through this. Tip number 3 ties into tip number 2 and it is to use repetition of tasks over several beats. And I will explain further what I mean by repetition of tasks. And tip number 4 is possibly the most important one, and that is to make templates. Possibly even multiple templates that make sense for working on different types of beats. Okay, make favorite folders. What I am talking about is making drum kits from different one-shots and different sounds that you get from some of your favorite sample packs. Take all your favorite sounds and group them all together into a single folder that you can rename and call whatever you like. I would name it something that suits the style of music or type of beat that you are trying to make with that kit. An example of one would be I made some this year, and I made quite a few back in 2018. I have some right here. And you want to put all these kits in a location where it's easy for you to call them up and plug them in. And this kit here just has everything you need to get you going. So then you just pull up your favorite way of programming drums. Here I have a sampler that I like to use, and in Ableton you can use the drum rack. FL you can use whatever your method is, but the idea is just that you have these folders ready to go. You load up some stuff. Let's see if we can find a hi-hat that'll work, and you just start rocking. Okay, so use repetition of tasks over several beats, and what I am talking about is to focus on one part of the beat. And what I normally do are the drums first, anyway. I used to start with the melodies, and anymore I start with the drums, being that I think it's the most important part of the beat. I did these 4 together as a group, and all I have done in them are the drums and the bass. And so how I look at it is you get the drums finished in project 1, and the first one of the group will take the longest. You'll have to load up the drums, make the kit, or just load up the kit and save it as a preset inside of your sampler. Get the drums finished in project 1, move on to project 2, get the drums done there. Same thing with project 3, same thing with project 4. Once that's done, you you move on to new things like the bass. And same thing, the first song will probably take you the longest. By the time you are getting over here to song 4, you're going to fly right through the bass. And then you move on to the melody, move on to whatever you think is next in order of relevance or importance, or just whichever way makes sense to you making the beat. There's no reason you have to start with drums. I start with drums. So, and hear this one real quick. Like I said, these beats just have the drums and bass done, and I'm going to come back around and start adding some melodic stuff real soon. Okay, make templates. What I am talking about is this. Load up in your DAW of choice a new project. Start filling it in with new tabs. Load up all your VSTs. You know, pick your favorites. Don't overwhelm it, but pick all the essentials that you need to get going on a beat. Go ahead and load up your effects and load them up as send effects. If you need help doing that, let me know in the comments below, and I'll show you how we do it here in Reaper. And I could show you in a couple other DAWs too, possibly. Let's see, set up your groups, set up your send effects, set up your folders, and any other type of routing that you would like. And then go ahead and save that as a template. If you can't figure out in your DAW how to set it up as a template, just save it as a project and title it template dash whatever style of beat you would make with that template, and save it like that. And when you want to use it, go ahead and pull it up and immediately resave it as a different name before you start making a beat. And then that project template will be saved as a blank template, and the new project will have the beat in it. In Reaper though, all you need to do is all that stuff I was saying, load up all your files and VSTs and whatnots, and then go to File, Project Template, and save project as template. It will save it at that current state, and at that point you just name it whatever you want to name it. I have a few here that I've made. And it loads it as unsaved project. So the first time you go to save, it'll ask you to title it. It won't affect the state of the template at all. The template will always load at this state. So if you want to make any changes to this state, do it when you first load it and then resave it as the same template name. This template in particular is one I use in conjunction with my drum machine. I have a few of them, and so anyway, let's see, let me show you a couple more. New project tab. You can have as many project tabs as you want here in Reaper, which is pretty dope. I don't know another DAW. Let me know if you know another DAW that can do the same thing, because I don't know of one. In Reaper, whatever project you are looking at and working on is the only one it's using resources for. It actually sleeps the other projects, so it's not likely to overload just from having a lot of projects loaded. And while you're working on several, it has this function here where it is called save all projects, which is really dope. If you have a lot going on in all projects, it could take a second, and Usually I will just save project being the current project I'm working on, unless I had the thought in my head that perhaps I didn't save the last project I was working on, then I'll go to save all projects. So another template in here, let's see if I can find one. I don't think my console one's loaded up, so we're not going to do this mix section here, and we're not going to do the mastering section. Movie mastering session, that's for editing videos. Let's try, that's an old one. I think possibly they don't have a lot of those VSTs anymore. Let's just try this one here. Yeah, this one might have been a bad choice also. No, there it goes. So it's got a few VSTs loaded up here. Got Atlas, got Omnisphere. Come on, baby. There's Omnisphere. File, new project tab. Let's load up that mixing session and see what it does. So for mixing sessions, what I do is basically export the stems of a project, and here I have it loaded up with a drums group folder. So all these files here in Reaper that are tabbed below it will all be processed through any processes I put in here. So I got console 1, I got an EQ, I got an imager. Imager is like the stereo width. The music group, this would be all my melodic stuff. Same thing, everything in this folder will be processed through here. I got bass group, which is really just one bass instrument, but I still, down here, these are my group folders here on the left. If you look right here, you can see they're a little bit lower, the numbers, than these, and they got a little folder symbol right there. So I just like to have it on the folder level so that I can control these faders here to control, you know, them on a group level. Here you can see all the plugins that are preloaded, and I got my sends down this way. I've got a couple verbs, a couple delays, compression, and whatnot. So that's the idea. Then I just drag in the files, put them in the appropriate place, and I get to work. And that's how that works. And also, in this series, I'll show you how I work to get basically, you know, templates for the Digitact also, which is really dope. It's kind of a workaround. It doesn't have a real system for it, but like it works. Okay, so in the next video in this series, we are going to start working on making some beats, and we are going to start with the drums. And for this series, I'm going to be working with the Digitact, and we are going to be taking all the sounds from the Digitact and recording them into Reaper. We're going to use this template that I have made here for working with the Digitact being recorded into Reaper. And for this series, we're going to do, I believe, 3 tracks. And so the next video will just work on the drums, and then the video after that will probably work on the bass, and then we'll move on to the music group, and so on and so forth till we finish it. And then we will arrange the beat in Reaper, and then we will have 1 or 2 mixing sessions and possibly a mastering session or we might just do kind of a quick master in the second mixings. We'll see how it goes. But anyway, you get the idea. I hope that this was instructional. I hope this helps somebody. And until next time, remember that life is short. Treat all your people really well. Have a good one.
But you know I had to get it. But you know I did not listen.